Hey everybody, this is Nicole. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been quite a while since I posted a video, and I do apologize. I know I promised I would be posting more often, but since I did some videos the last time, I've been doing a lot of online projects, some classes and stuff, and that really took up a lot of my time. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lie. I really had good intention, but I do have a few lined up here for my channel, so I'm kind of excited for that. So today, this is a project I did for the Fancy Fans Design Team blog, and I'm using a couple different collections here. I decided I want to really make some use of my 6x6 paper pads I have. This one here I'm punching right now is actually from the Wish Season collection. This is a Christmassy holiday type themed line, but there's some really good patterns in there that are non-themey, so I'm going to pick some of those. And then this is from the Happy Place collection, and I'm just going to pick some pinks and reds and kind of a tealy color and yellow, and just circle punching. I think I'm using a 2-inch and a 1 3/4 inch punch. When I didn't really have a huge plan in place for this project, but I knew I wanted to use circles, and so I decided I'm just going to punch a bunch of stuff and see what happens. So that's pretty much where this page went, and I think all in all, this whole page from start to finish took me about 37 minutes unedited. So that's pretty fast for me. Normally, I'm probably, longer than that. Sometimes even just planning a page takes me a little bit longer before I even, just the picking through things, I guess, if you can say, like sorting through my papers and stuff. So 35 minutes from start to finish, roughly, is pretty good in my book. So I'm just taking some of the 2-inch circles, and I've cut down some white cardstock and put that on the back or the center of some, it's like a bit of a mint green teal kind of triangle paper from Wish Season. And I'm just layering some of those smaller circles now over the larger ones, just to create a bit of a pattern. And then I decided I wanted to cut some of those circles in half instead of having circle on circle, because I've done that a lot lately, just for something a little bit different. So I'm just going to trim down some of the smaller ones, just half. I'm not really being super particular. I kind of use one as a bit of a template, and then I'm just going to trim down those in half. And again, if they're not super even, no one's really going to notice. And I'm also I decided to try to alternate the side that I have the circles on, so either the left or the right hand side of the circle shape. And I'm really trying to alternate the color and a bit of a contrast here. So if I'm using this like blue paper, I want to have something that contrasts with that. So I'm using the red, and same with the yellow, and also adding in some neutrals with that. It's hard to tell in the video, but it's like a white paper with a bunch of random colored plus signs on it, which is really kind of fun. So I'm just kind of mixing those up, and then I start lining them up, and then I realize that that's pretty boring, that I've probably done this like a million gazillion times, which I have. So I'm not a really good clean and simple scrapbooker, but I really like lining these up. And then I decide, you know what, I'm going to just start moving some of these around and leaving some gaps in between. So still using those same circles and just lining one up as a spacer, so to speak, and then gluing them down in a bit of a more random type of pattern. And I am going to use my ruler just to make sure they're basically straight. I think the gaps are not completely even, but I'm okay with that. So I'm just kind of fiddling around with the color and the placement, and then I turn some of my circles, so some are horizontal and some are vertical, those half circles. And I'm trying to make sure I don't have a lot of the same color in one area, so kind of moving the red around so that there's red kind of all over the page, same with the yellow, and there's a bit of touches of pink too. So trying to do that. And then I decide that I'm going to add some sewing, of course. So I just grab my sewing machine with some white thread, and I intended on sewing down those half circles. So I start off by doing kind of like a row on each side of where a half circle would be. And then I didn't want to do a lot of stitching, to be honest. I kind of wanted to leave it just really simple. And that's not what happened. I ended up doing quite a bit of stitching. I ended up sewing 2 rows down each kind of row of circles, even though that's not what I really intended. I didn't want it to be all stitched throughout, but that's okay. No big deal. So I just spent a couple minutes here sewing this all up. I'm not going to bore you with all of that. But yeah, you can see I just add a lot. You can't even really tell in the video that I'm actually sewing through all these circles, but I promise you it does show up better in real life. Now this picture I'm scrapbooking is actually about 5 years old. It's of me and my dog who used to sleep on the couch quite often. And this one particular day, he actually let me like kind of snuggle up close to him. And I'm not quite lying on top of him, but pretty close. And the day I scrapbooked this page was his 17th birthday. We're not sure what day he's born in May, but we knew he was born in May. So it was actually his 17th birthday, which we know we should be quite grateful for. But he is getting quite old, and I'm certain that he probably won't be here till June, maybe even July. So kind of a little bit melancholy scrapbooking this page because of that. And I really just like this picture because he's always by my side, this dog. So I'm just trying to find some letters here. These are happy place letters, and these are some really fun. I think they're about 2 inches tall, these letters. They have all different patterns and colors on them. And I actually thought I would use the title Happy Place for the title of the page. And then I'm sorting through letters, and I'm like, trying to find all the different ones just so I could mix and match on the page to see which I like best. And you'll see I pick out some of the other little things like the ampersand and some of those plus signs. I'm not sure if I'm going to use those, but I thought that'd be kind of something good to add in there. And so I'm just trying to think, do I really want to go with Happy Place or do I want to go with something else? I end up picking a totally different title, which is going to be You and Me, because at this point I realized I really want to use that yellow ampersand because I don't use a lot of ampersands, and I thought that would be good. And I'm just trying to sort through the letters again. I think I have 2 packs of these letters, or what's left of 2 packs of these letters kind of combined. And I am just going to put these all back in my Ziploc bag and then sort through the title to see which colors I want to use. And I don't want to use any of the pinks because there's the red, and I thought I had used pink, but it's actually like a red and white thin stripe there. It's hard to tell in the video, but there's not a lot of pink going on. So I wanted to stick to more of the blue and the neutral colors. So I picked some of the gray letters, and then that ampersand is yellow, of course. And we're just going to add some washi tape in from the Atwell collection behind my photo a little bit, just to add a little bit of black that's in the letters in there. And then I decided, of course, I'm going to pop dot all my letters. So yes, my photo is also pop dotted. And so I'm just kind of trying to decide where I want to put my title. Initially, I thought I would put my title kind of in that space there above those 3 rows of circles in between where that red one is, but it doesn't end up making it quite to that spot on the page. But I'm just going to get all these little pop dots stuck on there. And this is, since I filmed my last video, I have a new tool. It's like not a new tool. It's like an old tool, but it's new to me. And it's a Tim Holtz by Tonic like paper piercer. And I use it now to stick on all my like stickers or put pop dots, that kind of embellishment on. I really like placing it with that. I don't know why. It's just a thing I guess I started doing, and I really like that. The things don't get stuck to my fingers as much. So I kind of like how that works. So it's really good. Actually, you can retract. Is that the right word? You can stick out the pointy thing and bring it back in. So if you really need to stretch kind of underneath pretty far, you can do that. So I find that kind of handy. And I'm just adding some of those little asterisks that I found in the letter package. I'm just going to add a couple of those throughout my page in a bit of a triangle type situation going on here. Get rid of all these pop dot pieces. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to use a couple of these labels or not. I'm going to add the date here. I don't always add a lot of journaling, but I always make sure I at least add the date. So I'm going to add the date and then just a little tiny yellow sentiment there, and tuck that underneath my ampersand. Staple that in there. And at this point, I'm just kind of figuring out what I want to do. I want to add some buttons. So I have some buttons here from the Burlap and Bouquet line. I like this little red floral kind of button. So I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to grab some other items from my stash. So I have these chalk label stickers, which are really good if you put on like jars and if you want to label some of your stuff. But I kind of wanted to add just a little bit of a bracket edge there. And then I'm going to add in this label sticker from True Friend Collection. And then I'm going to add some buttons. So I end up pop dotting this arrow and I move it. I don't leave it in that same spot that I had initially. So I'm going to put that underneath my photo because I'm kind of missing right above that word U. There's a bit of an open area. I fill in later on. I'll show you in the photo of the picture, or of the layout, sorry. But then I just add some buttons and then I'm going to go ahead and rip this label off and restaple it on. I'm going to add this other tag underneath the label just to kind of make it a little bit bigger, and staple that back on. And then I end up cutting off part of the tag because it was driving me a little crazy, but I like it better with the whole on, to be honest now, but it's too late. C'est la vie. So I'm just popping some holes where my buttons are going to go, and I'm actually sewing my buttons right to my page. This is my preferred method only as much as it's kind of finicky and nitpicky. The buttons never fall off, and I mean, I like glue dots and everything. They work perfectly fine instead, but I just find that they don't quite always go in the right spot where I want them. They seem to kind of wiggle a little bit, and I've had a few pop off on me, so I don't mind sewing them on, and I do believe in no naked buttons. You need to, I think anyway, you need to thread those buttons up and add some twine or something through them, fill those little holes. They look empty and naked if you don't, so that's my preferred thing. So I just give them a quick little stitch, and then you can see I'm just adding a little piece of washi just to hold that little bit in place. And then I'm going to add some buttons here along the top, and that pretty much is the most part of the layout, I think, once I get those buttons on there. And this paper piercer that I got is also very good for this, although it is a little thick. I used to have or I do still have, but a Heidi Swap paper piercer, a really old one, little tiny ones. And it's almost better to pop holes in the page with that because the needle is a lot thinner, whereas this one here is a lot thicker, but it's much easier because it's a lot larger. It's a lot easier to use. So I'm just moving some things around here and adding a couple blobs of black ink just for fun. And here's a couple close-up shots of my page. You can just see here just some delicately layered circles and half circles. Just adds a little bit of interest to an otherwise simple grid design. And I added in some of the puffy word stickers and a little bit of stamping around my title. And a really, really, really simple page. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.